Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you again to all of our fantastic sponsors today. Thank you to Mark for that fantastic show you just put on. That was amazing. I appreciate that. Okay, real quick, we're going to have IGEL join us here in just a minute, and then after that, we're going to switch over to Webster. He's going to do a presentation. And for the question and answer time during Webster's presentation, please use the chat function within the main page as opposed to the, what is it called, the Q&A section. Please do not use the Q&A section. So having said that, let's go ahead and head right on into the IGEL presentation.
Hi everyone, Mike Barmundi here from IGEL. Just wanted to say hello to all of you out there at the CUGC XL, one of my favorite events. Let's just jump into it really quick. I'm going to switch over really quick to a screen share so we can talk a little bit more about what this looks like. So as you can see here, these are really the places where IGEL and Citrix work so well together, right? If we're talking about workplace challenges like moving to WVD, or moving from Windows 7, or even device as a service, right, like a PC refresh. Anything with Office, or as they call it now, Microsoft 365, mergers and acquisitions, secure remote workplace, the combination of IGEL and Citrix really makes a big difference, right? If we start with WVD, Citrix does a great way to secure and optimize the WVD experience with Citrix Cloud, making sure that you can manage everything and do those things so succinctly. And IGEL really comes and helps out, right? We really are a premier partner for that Linux endpoint to really create a cohesive story end to end. Another one I want to highlight is how we can reduce TCO, right, the total cost of ownership for you by really helping to understand, the challenge that you're facing today, really the move to more of an operational budget, which this pandemic has really accelerated. And then digital transformation things, right? Things like moving to Office 365, mergers and acquisitions, the stuff that's always been hard that are now made harder. So as you all may know, one of the benefits of IGEL is that we're an operating system that could be run on almost any form factor. Again, here's this little device. I'm going to switch video and show you exactly how this works. So I'm going to move over to my webcam here, my other camera. I have a whole full-fledged movie studio here, right? All right. So here I'm on a Windows device. An old Windows PC is actually an old Dell Latitude 6430. So all your veterans out there, you're probably like, wow, that thing is old. And it is, right? So imagine you're a work from home user. This is your device. Maybe it's your personal device, but you want to actually work securely with Citrix remotely and IGEL. So I'm just going to quickly restart this device. And then you can configure the device how you'd like. You can either, hit a hotkey or have users, hit a hotkey to actually do this, or you can do it yourself. Here, I'm just going to quickly, just to ensure that the demo goes smoothly, right? Just go ahead and choose my IGEL device. Again, you can see we can do legacy or UEFI. Go ahead and click that. And you can see up in a second that the IGEL workspace will load. So one of the coolest things here is that, again, you're using a small USB form factor that's really accelerating the adoption, security, and cost of, running your application securely at the edge and your desktops. Citrix does such an amazing job, right, of ensuring how these applications can run remotely, how they can run securely. And IGEL really becomes the enabler for that, right? It takes that last mile of what you're doing with Citrix, and it really takes it all the way into how users use it every day. So you can see here, based on the video, I'm actually into my Citrix workspace, my IGEL, I should say desktop, with my Citrix workspace showing. So what I'm going to show you now is I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to show you exactly how this works from the IGEL end. So I'm going to share my entire screen, and I'm going to go back to what we call our UMS, which is our management plane. I'm going to show you exactly how this looks. So right here, I'm going to quickly right-click, and I'm going to shadow this device. So this is a great way for your support teams or whatnot to actually support users remotely. So you can see it's pulling up there, right? You could probably see it on my video as well. But now I actually have virtual access via VNC, securely tunneled from basically this cloud-based management plane of iGel back into the device, right? Your Citrix work plane is still going to work the same. This is just mainly an iGel way of supporting an end user. If they have a problem, you can remote in very quickly. So really quick here, I'm just going to double click on my Citrix workspace. This is connected to the Citrix demo cloud, so it should pull up my applications relatively quickly in just a moment. And then you'll be able to see that I can work away and quickly log in, right, with just a couple minutes of plugging in this USB device and then getting rolling. So a very quick and easy way to get things going. So you can see here, boom, there's all my applications. So, I can run these and whatnot in a very secure manner depending on what's given to me by your IT departments. So a very cool use case. So at this point, right, as a user, right, you can see me, I'm moving the mouse around remotely on the mouse pad with the laptop next to me, right? So showing user interaction as well as I can do it here on my screen. So when I'm done, I'll quickly swap. I'll stop sharing. I'll swap back to the video really quickly. You can see here when I'm done, I can just pull this out. So you can see it turn off, right? And then I can just quickly boot back up, and it'll actually go right back into Windows. So right, the user experience of how this works is so clean. It works so well, and it really completes that story between, working from anywhere with Citrix and how well that Citrix works, all the way down to, hey, what device do you have? You know what? You can pretty much use any device at this point. A major announcement that iGel broke back in January is the inclusion of running on an end computing device. So if you aren't familiar with this is actually a Raspberry Pi wrappered in a company called End Computing that supports it from an enterprise level, right? So I know that Raspberry Pi has been a hot topic for a lot of companies that are wanting to save money on the device aspect. They wanted something like a Raspberry Pi, but maybe they wanted something that they could support, right? That a little bit more support oomph behind it when it comes to actually deploying those. So End Computing partnered with iGel, and now we can actually run for the first time ever, right? Drum roll, please. End Computing on Raspberry Pi. That'll be available very shortly, and you'll be able to run this in your environment along with almost virtually any x86 device. So you have that ability to repurpose a current x86 device, like maybe expensive desktops or laptops, and now you have the ability to bring in new cost-effective devices like the End Computing Raspberry Pi device. So again, thank you all for your time. Enjoy the CUGC, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.
All right. Thank you to iGel for that. And if you want to learn more about iGel, please head on over to the sponsor booth in the CUGC lobby. Next up, we have Citrix CTP Fellow Webster, who's going to be laying down some PowerShell goodness for us.
Hey, is my camera on?
I'm not seeing it. I hear you, though. There we go.
All right.
Maybe.
Well, there we go.
There we go. I got you. All righty. You're live, Webster.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I'm honored that you asked me to speak to you about my PowerShell scripts. They've kind of taken over my life. When I first started carlwebster.com back in November 2008, it was mainly to help answer questions on Experts Exchange and on some of the forums. We really couldn't do it in like just a couple of sentences, so I started writing how-to articles. And then in March of 2011, so almost 10 years ago, I started writing PowerShell scripts, and they have literally taken over my life. I spend the majority of my time now maintaining all of these PowerShell scripts, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to discuss with you the current scripts and files. Then I've got some trivia questions for you. Then we'll go over some tips for creating scripts, and then some miscellaneous questions. Now, along the way, if you want to ask any questions, go ahead and ask. I believe in the Q&A window, you can ask questions. Now, there is a slight delay between when I speak and when you hear me, and my hands wave. So make sure that you reference something to let me know what you're asking the question about. So what I have become most known for are the documentation scripts. And it started out with one and is now almost 30 documentation scripts. We cover almost everything Citrix related, a lot of Microsoft stuff. We also have some Nutanix, Parallels, VMware. The Active Directory script is one that I really use a lot because, believe it or not, I actually spend probably 75% of my time doing Active Directory work. So I get asked to do a lot of Active Directory assessments, health checks, remediation, migrations, and I use this script a lot when I'm doing my Active Directory health checks. And a lot of the features that are in a lot of the scripts come about because I actually use the scripts myself when I am doing work for customers. And a lot of times I want to know where something is, what something is, or more information about a customer environment. And so I keep adding more information into the scripts, and especially the Active Directory script. There will be an update coming out on Monday for the Active Directory script, version 3.03. Probably should be 3.1 because it turned out to be so many changes in that script. Then you'll see some of the scripts have an asterisk beside them. Those are ones that came from the community or have mostly community input, and where I will just maintain them for like to fix bugs in some of the common code, like HTML output, Word output, text output, stuff like that. One of the so the application delivery controller or NetScaler is done by Andrew McCullough. It was originally done by Barry Schiffer, and Andy now maintains it, and he's working on a big upgrade for that script. And then when Andy is done with his update, I'm going to then add HTML and text output into the ADC script, because right now it only does Word output. One of the newest scripts is for Citrix Cloud. So we originally had, when we're talking about the modern products, we had the XenApp, Zen Desktop 7 script, which went to version 7.7. And then there were so many changes between 7.7 and 7.8, I created a new script, which I call the V2 script. And then when Citrix finally removed a lot of code for things, like personal vDisks and some of the other deprecated features, then I came out with a V3 script, which is for CVAD 2006 and later. Once I had all of that code removed, I had heard that script, you could actually get it to work and document stuff in Citrix Cloud if you ignored a bunch of errors and you knew how to do the authentication to the Citrix Cloud. So I got a lot of people in to help test who helped me get started with Citrix Cloud, and we were able to take that V3 script, or number 4 in the list here, the CVAD 2006 Plus is the V3 script. We were able to take that and create a script to document Citrix Cloud. And so then we had the CVAD 2006 Plus. Then David O'Brien originally created the configuration manager script. David has gone on to other things now, and That script hadn't been updated in a while, but I have put, some bug fixes and stuff into that script. Then another project I was on, I had to document everything in the Citrix environment, and they used Citrix FAS. So I created a script to help document that. And then we have Microsoft DHCP, Microsoft DNS, which are used a lot when I'm doing my Active Directory health checks. I specifically state Microsoft DNS and Microsoft DHCP because I don't document info blocks and I don't document the Blue Cat appliances. Then we had the old Netscaler, which, believe it or not, is still being downloaded. It only goes to like version 10.1, I believe, of Netscaler. And you have to like get the conf file and process the conf file, something like that. But people still use it, and I had recently updated it to add some word bug fixes. Andy McCullough also does the Netscaler mass script. Case Baggerman with Nutanix provided the Nutanix documentation script. I also created one for Parallels RAS, and I'm working on Parallels RAS v2 for the RAS version 18. Now there are 3 different PVS scripts. There's PVS new v5, which uses the new object-oriented PowerShell. Then we have PVS new v6. The difference between them is that from the beginning, PVS will allow you, so of all the PowerShell that Citrix provides, PVS is the only one that allows you to take a non-domain joined VM or computer and actually connect to a PVS farm in another forest or domain and then run the script against it, and all the commandlets work. The only problem is that it requires plain text credentials and has, from version 1 of the PVS script all the way up to version 5. I did a presentation for the PowerShell Hanover users group back in December, and one of the guys there showed me how to actually work around that and actually take a PowerShell PS credential object, take out the plain text username and password, and then use those for the PVS PowerShell commandlets. And that's where V6 came from. I still maintain V5 with some bug fixes and stuff, because if you're still using like scheduled tasks or you're using batch files or whatever to run the script, and you've got all that plain text password saved, then you can still use V5. V6 uses a PowerShell credential and is the latest script and the only one I'm adding new features to for PowerShell. The PVS old is for PVS 5 and 6 that still uses the old crappy string-based PowerShell. And just to test it, because you still, even if you install the latest version of PVS 2012, by default, all the old string-based PowerShell stuff is still installed. And so I tested the old PVS documentation script against PVS 2012, worked like a champ. Of course, the output is not as good looking as the current versions of the script, but it does work. And I still maintain it because there are still PVS 5 and PVS 6 farms out there. I cannot remember the guy who supplied the SMS passcode script. I met him, I believe, at a E2E event in Germany somewhere. and he supplied that script, and I just made it available on my site. Sam Jacobs, another CTP, created and maintains the storefront script. And then the Virtual Apps and Desktop 7.8 Plus is what I refer to as the V2 script. Then Jake Rutsky, who now works for Citrix, created the VMware script. And then the very first documentation script that I created was for XenApp 5. And then when those went to a end-of-life status, I split them out to make it easier to maintain them, because there were so many differences between XenApp 2003 and XenApp 2008 that they should have been separate scripts from the get-go. Then the XenApp 6, the XenApp 6.5. XenApp 6.5 is the most popular script. As of 11 a.m. this morning, it was just shy of 140,000 downloads for the XenApp 6.5 script. And then the V1, the XenApp Xen Desktop 7 through 7.7 script. Now, having 4 different scripts for XenApp, Xen Desktop, CVAT, and Citrix Cloud really confuses a lot of people. And I was getting a lot of emails coming in. I'm trying to run this script, and it's not working. I thought my error message was clear. I worked with Guy Leach, and I believe I made the error messages better. Where now, if you try to run the V1 script on XenApp 7.8, it will actually tell you that, hey, you can't run this script. If you're running this version, you need this script. Here's where you download it. Or if you're running, CVAT 2006, here's the script you need. If you're running Citrix Cloud, here's the script you need. And now that I've done that for all 4 of the scripts, updated all the error messages with what you should be running, updated the help text in every script, updated the README file for every script to point to that, and I haven't gotten a single support email since. Xen Desktop 4 still surprises me, because that hadn't been supported by Citrix for ages, and it is still being downloaded. Now, the amazing thing is, so there are 27 documentation scripts. Every one of them is still downloaded every single month. There's not been, since I started keeping track of downloads when Jim Moyle forced me to, for a BRI forum in London in the summer of 2013, there has not been a month since like July 2013, I believe is when that BRI forum was in London. There's not been a single month that there has not been a script that has not had at least one download. The Xen Desktop 4 surprises me, because there's usually around 5 downloads per month of that script. So then we also offer Xen Desktop 5, and then Anand Payne provides and maintains the Xen Mobile documentation script. Then some of my favorite scripts are the miscellaneous scripts. A lot of these scripts came about because I was actually hired to go in and troubleshoot issues for customers, and I created scripts to help me with the troubleshooting, and then the customers allowed me to make the scripts available to the community. The Active Directory Health Check is provided by Jeff Routers. He created the script, and then he went off and is now doing other things, asked me to make the script available on my site. I actually don't use that script when I do Active Directory Health Checks. I have all my own scripts that I use. For my lab, when I started doing building a VMware environment in my lab, I found out that if you back up your vCenter, that does not include your virtual distributed switches. So I created a script to allow you to back up your virtual distributed switches. Then there's a bunch of group policy scripts. There's a create authoritative time server GPO script. I actually don't even use my own script for that. There's a former CTP, Jeremy Saunders from Australia. If you Google Jeremy Saunders authoritative time server, I use his PowerShell script because his script will go out there and create the WMI filters and 3 group policy objects and handles everything for you. His script is much better than mine, and so I use his. I still make mine available because there's links for it out there, and I don't want to break, the Google links and everything. So then Michael B. Smith did the DNS, and then the rest of them, when you see the V1 and V2, the V1 are specific for XenApp 6 and XenApp 6.5, and the V2 will work with AD in general. And then even more miscellaneous scripts. There's a lot of scripts available for free. And then miscellaneous files. These are pretty popular. The Citrix policy settings, it was me and 7 other members from the community were trying to maintain all the information about all the Citrix policy settings for every version from XenApp 7, XenApp 6.0, all the way to Zendesk 5 and then on. And then finally, Citrix took that over, and they now provide a CSV file with all of that information. All right, so download counts. I really appreciate everyone because y'all must find the scripts useful. I'm glad you do. So the other script contributors and I thank you for downloading. At 11 a.m. Central, the scripts have been downloaded, all the scripts and files, 560,189 times. Thank you. We appreciate you using the scripts. So how many lines of power? Actually, I forgot. Hey, we got the first 2 trivia questions. So are you ready for that? All right. So who is the CTP who is directly responsible for the release of the first documentation scripts? Because I never intended to release any scripts. So are they putting that in the chat window for the trivia? All right. So in the chat, am I seeing chat? So do we have any? I'm not seeing the chat, so I don't know if anyone's answering or not. So
looks like we've got one come into the Q&A section so far, Webster, and a couple into the chat section. All right, still looking. Looks like we do. Looks like we do have a winner from the chat. Someone picked themselves. Give you one guess who that was.
Jarian?
That would be correct.
All right. Yep, it's Jarian Gibson. Now, I'm personally giving out a $25 Amazon gift card for the people who answer these. So, yep, Jarian Gibson. So if it were not for Jarian, you would have absolutely no scripts from me. So, all right, so the next trivia. So I told you what was the first documentation script I worked on, but what was the first documentation script released on my website? So not the first one I worked on, but what was the first one I released? This is the one Jarian strongly encouraged me to release. Are there any answers? I would think Jarian would know this one too, since he's the one that strongly made me release this one.
Looks like we have an answer. Looks like Chris, he did say 6.0, and I would assume that is for the the correct answer, which was the Zen app 6.0. So Chris, go ahead and we'll connect with you and get that for you.
All right. So now let's get on back down to how many lines of PowerShell? All right. So are they seeing the how many lines of PowerShell slide? All right. So when someone first asked me how many lines of PowerShell. So when I did a presentation at the Midwest Excel event, November 2017, I had to go through and, look up all the scripts, count the number of lines. There were just shy of 207,000 lines of PowerShell code that I was maintaining in the publicly available scripts. Then in December 2020, that went up quite a bit. As you can see, the number of scripts actually increased. And so now in 2021, there's now one additional script because I did the PVS v5, PVS v6. So the last trivia question, how many lines of PowerShell is Webster maintaining in the publicly available scripts? As of the scripts available as of today, because there's going to be some script updates next week. Now, the one that gets the closest without going over. All right, so we getting anything in the chat window there?
Yes, sir. We've got a couple in the Q&A section, and then we've got a couple in the chat. How long you want to let this run for before we pull someone?
Oh, just a few seconds. All right. Because we got some slides and we're running out of time.
All righty. So it looks like, what is the answer, sir? And then I will let you know who's closest once we put that answer up.
383,747. So who is the closest?
383. Looks like that's going to be Sarah H.
All right, Sarah
is closest.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, let's get on with the presentation then. So how do we get started with PowerShell? Well, believe it or not, you just got to get started. So what I tell people to do, there's a little book. It's what I used. It's Learning PowerShell Scripting in a Month of Lunches from Manning Press. It's just little nuggets of knowledge that you can learn and work with and use in the time that you're eating your lunch. So they're very short, 30 little lessons. Just use that, and that will help. And then start with something simple. Don't come up with this elaborate thing. Just like, hey, I want to know how many delivery groups I have available in Studio. Something simple like that. And then don't try to impress people with your code. Keep your code simple so that you and then someone else who's going to have to come back behind you later can understand it. Because you're not trying to get a PhD in computer science. You're just trying to solve a simple problem. And then make your code work. And by working, that means your data is correct. Because I don't care how good the script is, if the data is not correct, it's a useless script. And then once you have your data and you know the data is correct, now you can go back and make your script look pretty. Also, make no assumptions. Don't put in there something like num lines equals 16, because 6 months later when you come back to modify that script, you will have absolutely no idea what that number 16 meant. Also, make no assumptions that there will always be a delivery group. There will always be a machine catalog. There will always be users. There will always be machines in a machine catalog, because none of those are true. You can have machine catalogs with no machines. You can have lots of things, and you need to make no assumptions that there will always be data. And then make sure you test with different versions of Windows and different versions of PowerShell. So when I was creating the get and set DNS info scripts, I had them working perfectly in my lab on Server 2016 and Windows 10. Then when I ran it on the customer's Server 2012 environment, the scripts did not work because PowerShell 4 did things differently than PowerShell 5.1. So if you get a script to work, make sure it works in different versions of Windows and different versions of PowerShell. Do lots of testing. So here are some miscellaneous questions. What tools do I use for scripting? Most of my scripting is done in Notepad++. I know a lot of people freak out. Why aren't you using Visual Studio Code? I am trying to learn to use Visual Studio Code, but I don't know. I guess I've used Notepad++ for so long, I find VSC very hard. Also, ICE, when I'm trying to debug stuff, like an update I'm doing for the Active Directory script that I'm going to release on Monday. I had a user that was getting an error that no one else got. And what I found out, I had to step through the code in ICE to find out, for some reason, when you had 11 subnets in a site, my code broke. And I had to go there and fix my code to handle 11 subnets. It worked 1 through 10, 12 through however many, but for some reason, a corner case of 11 subnets broke the script. Weird. I do use Visual Studio Code. If I've got something and I can't figure it out, I'll open it up in VSC, go through the problems thing, and it will usually tell me what I've got wrong. I use Google a lot. And when you are working on a script and you Google for your issue that you don't understand and you find a solution, always give credit to the person in the site where you found your solution. Do not steal code. That is just not nice. Give credit where credit is due. If you open up any of my scripts, you will find references to all kinds of places where I have found a solution to an issue I was having, or someone provided code, or someone, specifically Guy Leach, comes up with this, says, hey, this is broken, this is what you need to do. If you search the CVAD documentation scripts for Guy Leach, you will see his name hundreds of times. My main PowerShell and Active Directory mentor, Michael B. Smith. No script is released until Michael B. Smith has done a code review. And then Guy Leach. Now, Guy is an excellent programmer, developer. I do not consider myself a programmer. I do not consider myself a developer. I am just a bulldog who is trying to solve a problem with PowerShell, and I just keep going until I solve it. Guy Leach is magnitudes of order more intelligent and more skilled than I am. If you find a mentor, you find someone to review your code, do not have a fragile ego, especially Michael B. Smith and Guy Leach. They will shatter your ego if it's fragile. Just take their suggestions. It's your code, but if they offer suggestions or someone in the community offers suggestions, take it. Make sure you give credit where credit is due. How do I get ideas from scripts? From you. And from when I'm out working at customer sites and on projects that partners hire me for. That's where I get a lot of ideas for scripts. How long does it take to update a script? The Parallels RAS v2 script I've been working on for months. Some of them back in the old days, like when Citrix would come out with version 7.7 and then come out with version 7.8, it may take me a month or two to update a script trying to find all the things. Citrix will tell you what they have added, but they don't always tell you what they removed from their PowerShell, or what they changed in their PowerShell, or what they renamed in their PowerShell, and you sit there and struggle trying to find all that stuff, and it can take a while to update some of the scripts. All right, questions? Do we have any questions?
Not seeing any come through yet. Anybody, go ahead, throw them up in the chat.
So I will retire no later than June 30th, 2023, which means I need some of the young guns to come in and start doing a lot of the scripting, a lot of the maintaining, and helping me with some of these scripts, because on July 1st, 2023, I'll be second vice district governor for Lions Club International District 12S, and that's going to consume a lot of my time. And then that'll be 2023, 2024. So 2024 through 2025, I'll be first vice district governor. Then 25 through 26, I will be district governor. And that is, basically a full-time job. It's like I don't know if I'm going to have time for my site and for scripts. So that's why I'm telling people June 30th, 2023 is when Webster's going to retire, and, other people are going to have to come up and start maintaining the script or creating their own scripts. Maybe people who actually know how to write good PowerShell will come in and create new documentation scripts to replace my documentation scripts.
I have a question for you from Dwayne. He asks, how do we sign up to help? If someone wants to get on board, Carl, what do they do?
Just email me. All the scripts are on GitHub. All the publicly available scripts. There are a couple of private scripts for partners or customers who've hired me to do stuff. Most customers and partners allow me to put the scripts out to the community, but some of them, plus I have my own script that I do, but all the scripts are on GitHub. So you're welcome to do whatever you do in Git, to make updates or branches or whatever it is that GitHub. Like I said, I'm not a programmer. I'm not a developer. I don't even understand most of the Git terminology. So just go to github.com and you can find my repository and start helping. Because I'm sure I'll have to go to Guy Leach and say, Guy Leach, someone has offered a code submission. What the heck do I do now? Any other questions?
I am not seeing anything, sir. I think that is pretty much all we have.
All right. Well, I want to thank you again to the community in general for using the scripts. If you didn't use the scripts, there'd be no need for me to spend all this time maintaining them. And then also to the Great Lakes CUGC for having me come in and present to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Webster. Appreciate your time today.
You are welcome.
All righty. Next, we're going to head on over to EG Innovations to give us a presentation on their product.
Good afternoon. My name's John Worthington. I'm the Director of Customer Success at EG Innovations, and I appreciate you giving me a few minutes to tell you about our company. From the early days of physical machines to virtualized infrastructures, public cloud services, and today's modern digital services, EG Innovations has been helping customers answer the question, why is my application slow? With the digital experience being key to a competitive edge, the digital workspace, whether that's located on your premises in a public cloud such as Azure or AWS, or whether it's a hybrid like Citrix Cloud, customers need a 360-degree view of user experience, and that's what EG Innovations provides. But since Citrix users voted this video a winner in the recent Citrix Ready Spotlight contest, I'm going to let that do the talking and then provide a few concluding remarks.
Citrix is redesigning the way how the future works. With Citrix Digital Workspace, we believe work is no longer a place. It's an increasingly dynamic activity. That's why the digital workspaces from Citrix are adaptable, offering employees freedom and security. Whether work happens on site, on the road, or in the cloud, Citrix gives you confidence without compromise. However, sometimes things go wrong. When a user complains of sluggish performance, it becomes challenging for a Citrix administrator to identify the source of the problem. EG Enterprise is a purpose-built monitoring and analytics solution for Citrix environments that allows administration teams to proactively monitor and troubleshoot performance issues instantly, even before users notice, thereby ensuring a superior digital workspace experience. Let's look at the 4 key areas where EG Enterprise helps Citrix customers. The performance of a Citrix digital workspace is determined by the experience it delivers to users. EG Enterprise measures all aspects of Citrix user experience. Log on and desktop launch times are measured by synthetic simulation. In addition, EG Enterprise monitors the real user experience by tracking every single Citrix session, providing several insights. When user experience is poor, what is causing this is the next question. To answer this, end-to-end visibility is essential. EG Enterprise has built-in expertise to monitor the performance of every Citrix workspace tier, and EG Enterprise monitors all the IT infrastructure services supporting Citrix. You can collect thousands of metrics, but where is the root cause? To determine this, EG Enterprise auto-constructs a service topology map highlighting the dependencies between the different Citrix tiers and the supporting infrastructure. Performance metrics across all tiers are auto-correlated in real time, and the root cause of the problem is highlighted clearly. The value of a monitoring tool goes beyond problem diagnosis and troubleshooting. Trends of metrics collected can be analyzed across tiers, and insights obtained for optimizing and right-sizing your infrastructure so you can accommodate more users. If you want to make your daily routine more productive, you must move from reactive to proactive monitoring. EG Enterprise is a Citrix-ready verified solution that can help you achieve your Citrix user experience and ROI goals.
Now, besides thanking all of you who voted for our video, I'd like to make a few final comments. The deep domain expertise EG Enterprise has in all components in the Citrix stack, including Citrix Cloud, may be one reason why Citrix has selected EG Enterprise as the exclusive performance monitor for their major trade shows and more recently for their global demonstration center. But the mission-critical nature of the digital workspace and our ability to provide total performance visibility into both Citrix and non-Citrix tiers of the digital workspace are also important drivers. A Forrester study found that almost all user experience problems relied on several parts of the IT infrastructure. We've independently verified that customers get rapid ROI on their investment in EG Enterprise, as well as significant improvements in their ability to proactively isolate performance issues. Customers can no longer afford to treat the digital workspace as just another technical silo. There's just too many moving parts to today's digital workspaces. The total performance visibility that EG Enterprise provides can enable a new kind of IT hero, someone that embraces transparency and moves your organization to proactive performance management. If you'd like to hear more, stop by our booth and enter our drawing for our Bose wireless earbud giveaway, and we'll give you a gift certificate as our way of saying thank you.
All right. Thank you, EG Innovations. Again, if you want to learn more, please head on over to the lobby and the sponsor booths. Next up is going to be Sarah Steinhoff. Again, you can reach her through the Citrix lobby. She is our next presenter. Thank you very much.